Good morning, students. Welcome to yet another video of Geography, Chapter 4 Agriculture, Part 2. In the previous class, we learned about types of farming. Today, we will discuss about cropping pattern and major crops. Now, you all can open your geography textbook, page number 36. We will start with the first subtopic cropping pattern. We all know that every crop cannot grow in every season. Every crop requires different seasons for its growth. The factors that help in the growth of the crops are soil, climatic conditions, temperature, rainfall, etc. Based on these factors, India has three cropping seasons, that is Rabi, Kharif, and Zaid. We will start with the first cropping season, that is Rabi. The Rabi crops are sown in the winter season and harvested in the summer season. The major Rabi crops are wheat, barley, oats, chickpea, pulses, oil seeds, etc. The major Rabi producing states are Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttaranchal, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, and so on. The availability of precipitation during winter months that helps in the success of the rabi crops. Apart from that, even the success of green revolution in Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh and parts of Rajasthan also contributed to the growth of the rabi crops. Now let's move on to the next cropping season, that is the Kharif season or else the Kharif crops. The Kharif crops are grown with the onset of the monsoon in different parts of our country, and the Kharif crops are harvested slightly in the winter season, that is from September to October month. The Kharif crops mainly or else often they grow in the coastal regions. Do you know why? If you look at their seasons, they are mostly during the monsoon season. They need rain, they need water, and they are harvested in slightly winter season. So availability of water is a good thing for the Kharif crops. So these types of crops are normally sown in the coastal regions. In fact, we see that the Kharif crops are grown in West Bengal, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, then Telangana, Maharashtra, and so on. Then, if we look at the map of India, you would see that all of these states, which I mentioned right now, they have a coastal area. In fact, some of these regions are the main rice growing areas because rice is the one such crop which need lots of water, whereas rabi crops does not require too much of water. However, during the winter, if there is a slight precipitation, that makes these crops really successful. The major kharif crops are rice, maize, bajra, ragi, jowar, cotton, arhar, moong, urad, jute, soybean, etc. Now let's move on to the next slide explaining about zaid crops. Zaid crops. So, in between the Rabi and the Kharif season, there is a short crop growing season during summer months. That is known as the Zaid season. So, the word meaning Zaid means prosperous. So, Zaid season means the intermediate season. The intermediate season between the Kharif and the Rabi season is known as the Zaid season. That is from March to June. These crops can grow throughout the year by artificial irrigation. So that is why it is known as prosperous. So now let's see the examples of the Zaid crops in this slide. So the major crops that produced during the Zaid season are watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, vegetables and fodder crops. So these are the main Zaid crops. So that's all about the cropping pattern. Now let's move on to the next heading, that is major crops. Under major crops, first we will learn about the staple food of our country, that is rice. So India is the largest producer of rice after China. It requires high temperature, that's above 25 degree Celsius, and high humidity. And type of crop, rabi is a kharif crop. And the best soil for the growth of rice cultivation is clayey soil. So I'll repeat the climate once more. The climatic condition, it should be hot and humid climate. The climate should be above 25 degrees Celsius. So that climate is apt for the growth of paddy. Then about the rainfall. For the growth of rice cultivation, we require ample rainfall. So the annual rainfall should be more than 100 centimeter. So if it is less, paddy cultivation is possible only by artificial irrigation. So if the rainfall is less than 100 centimeter, then we need to give artificial irrigation for the growth of paddy. And the areas or the states in India which cultivate rice, mainly the northern plains, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Haryana, and Odisha, and so on. West Bengal is the largest producer of rice in India. The areas of Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, and West Bengal, and parts of Gujarat have good cultivation of rice by means of canals and tube well irrigation. Now let's move on to the second major crop in India, that is wheat. So it comes next to rice in terms of production. Wheat is a rabi crop or else a winter crop. Wheat is the main food crop in north and northwest India. The suitable soil for the cultivation of wheat is the loamy soil of northern plains and black soil of Deccan region. Cool growing season is required for the growth of wheat. It requires right amount of sunshine when it is ripening, and it requires moderate rainfall from 50 to 75 centimeter. What we learned is in rice required heavy rainfall, but for wheat we don't require heavy rainfall. For the growth of wheat we require only moderate rainfall ranging from 50 to 75 centimeter. And the wheat grows in two zones, namely the Ganga Satluj plains in northwest and the black soil in Deccan. So these are the two prominent zones where we have ample wheat cultivation. The next point is explaining about the major wheat growing states in India. The major wheat producing states are Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, and parts of Madhya Pradesh. Among all these, the largest wheat producing states are Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, and Haryana. The next slide is explaining about millets. Bajra, jowar, and ragi are the important millets grown in India. These are known as coarse grains. Ragi is rich in iron and calcium. Ragi is commonly grown in South India. It is grown in dry regions and grows well on red, black, sandy, loamy, and shallow black soils. The highest production of ragi is seen in Karnataka, followed by Tamil Nadu and Himachal Pradesh. There are few traces of ragi are found in Sikkim, Jharkhand, and Arunachal Pradesh. Next is bajra. Bajra it grows in sandy and shallow black soil. The largest producer of bajra is Rajasthan, then Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Haryana. The next is jowar. The largest producer of jowar is Maharashtra, followed by Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh. Jowar is the third most important food crop with respect to area and production. Jowar is a rain-fed crop grown in most areas which hardly needs irrigation. It is mainly grown in moist areas which hardly needs irrigation. All these are coarse grains which have rich fiber content. The next is explaining about maize. Maize is a food and a fodder crop. Predominantly, maize is a kharif crop. However, in Bihar, it is a rabi crop because the maize is grown in rabi season and it grows well in alluvial soil. The temperature required for the growth of maize is 21 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. The major maize producing states are Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and so on. The next heading is pulses. India is the largest producer and consumer of pulses in the world. The pulses are the major sources of protein. The major pulses grown in India are arhar, urad, moong, masoor, peas, grams, and so on. All the pulses are predominantly leguminous, means it has nitrogen fixation except arhar. It helps in restoring soil fertility by fixing nitrogen from the air. They can grow in dry seasons, and the major pulse producing states in India are Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. Now let's have a quick recap of today's class. So today's class we started with cropping pattern and we discussed that India has 3 cropping seasons. Rabi crops are sown in winter from October to December and harvested in summer from April to June, and the kharif crops are grown with the onset of monsoon in different parts of the country, and these are harvested in September to October. Then we learned about the Zaid season. The Zaid is between the Rabi and the Kharif seasons, and there is a short season during the summer months known as the Zaid season, or else the intermediate season between the Rabi and the Kharif season is known as the Zaid season. Then we learned about the major crops in India. Major crops in India are rice, wheat, millets, pulses, and so on. We learned about first we learned about the rice, the staple food crop in India. Our country is the second largest producer of rice in the world after China, and rice is a kharif crop which requires high temperature above 25 degrees Celsius and humidity and high humidity with annual rainfall about 100 centimeter. Then we learned about wheat, the second most important crop. It is the main food crop in the north and the northwestern part of India. And the wheat growing regions are the Ganga Satluj plains in the northwest and the black soil regions of the Deccan. And it requires a bright sunshine at the type of ripening. And then we learned about millets. Jowar, bajra and ragi are the important millets grown in India. These have very high nutritional value. And finally we learned about pulses. India is the largest producer as well as the consumer of pulses in the world. The major source of protein in a vegetarian diet is pulses, and these need less moisture and survive even in dry conditions. The major pulses producing states in India are Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. In the next class, we will learn about food crops other than grains. There we will be discuss about oil seeds, tea, coffee, and horticulture crops. So if you have any doubts related to today's class, you can mail your doubts at dmcsonlinequeries@gmail.com. Thank you, students. Have a good day ahead.